and those individuals who have sacrificed themselves. Thanks to their sacrifice, Turkey has reached today, and Turkey is much stronger today. And Turkish democracy is now enjoying a much more stronger democracy and led under the leadership of the terrorist organization FETÖ. This coup attempt was staged, but this has been eradicated now today with the participation of our distinguished participants, Associate Dr. Mustafa and Professor Muhittin Ataman, Professor Cengiz Tomar, and Mr. Mustafa Elsa Gezli will be here with us, and we will be talking about the regional repercussions of the July 15th coup attempt. We will be getting into the details of this point and implications of July 15th coup attempt to the region. And we are now respectfully commemorating the fallen martyrs of July 15th, and by means of in full appreciation of the fulfilled democracy, we will be now giving the floor to Professor Muhittin Ataman. He's the head of International Relations Department of Social Sciences, University of Ankara, and he's quite active in SETA and the other think tank, and he has concluded very significant studies in this region, in the topics, political science topics, and also he will be focusing on Qatar. I believe that there will be some comments from him. Thank you so much. Before we start, thank you so much. Before we start, and thank you. We are now focusing on, there are many other soldiers, there are many other, many martyred. The military coup attempt has been eradicated. By the way, I'm very sorry, I'm hearing both sides.
Bize ulaşıyor direkt kulağımıza. Onun için konuşmakta zorluk çekebiliriz.
Evet, arkadaşım bütün cümleleri doğrudan işitiyorum.
Teknik bir sıkıntı var şu anda. Arkadaşlar sesler biraz karışık geliyor.
Bize ulaşıyor direkt kulağımıza. Onun için konuşmakta zorluk çekebiliriz.
15 Temmuz klasik bir darbe girişiminin çok ötesinde bir işgal girişimiydi.
July 15th has been a heinous attack to overthrow the government, and just as the case with many military coup attempts, this was instructed, this was not only supported from outer factors, but it was also instructed. So this was an attempt to take over the control over Turkey. This was a night that has started with the unfortunate and heinous attack, but it was crowned with a victory. But briefly, if I may, this military coup attempt has been taking the lead, and it has also triggered some other internal political developments, which has led Turkey to be more active and to be stronger in the end, and to have to lead to a better level where Turkey has been elevated in many aspects, include not only the domestics but also the international politics. There has been some changes. One of them is the elimination of the guardianship of military and other forces, and with the political will being stated in a much more stronger way, Turkey has become more determined in both domestic and international policies, and it was the public that has taken the assertiveness, and this has led to many assertives. And the transition to the presidential system has been also an advantage, because this is a very strong political will. This has also given us the chance to have or the government to have a better execution of many steps, and a much more effective policies, a set of political steps have been also taken. And also in the defense sector, Turkey is a deteriorating factor in the country, is discouraging many other negative developments, and Turkey has become much stronger in the military sense as well. And as a last point, and as a result of this military coup attempt, and with the changes and the Turkish foreign policy has been nationalized as well. And it was in the Turkish public's interests, and this was taken in the center. So this has become, Turkey has come to a level where the foreign policy has taken Turkish people's interest in the center. Especially, we know that there has been some soft power representation being rising in the representation of the Turkish foreign policy as well. And let's take a look at the implications and the repercussions of the region, if I may also summarize these and what kind of an implication and repercussions this July 15th coup attempt brought. And with the new military strategy and with a new concept of combat against terrorism, Turkey has been taking preventative measures, and this has gone beyond Turkey's own borders. Turkey has initiated and launched a terrorism, counterterrorism process, and this combat against terrorism has been taken outside of Turkey. So other organizations beyond the Turkish borders were also targeted directly. And it was a preventative approach and neutralizing them prior to their possible acts against Turkey. This security focused disclosure, and despite this launch of new approach, there is this other siege-based approach as well. This, without making any differentiation between the actors, Turkey has remained in dialogue as much as possible with the other factors, but Turkey has prioritized its own interests. For instance, started taking some initiatives as well. First, this has been in Syria first, consecutively in 4 different large-scale military operations in Syria. The Daesh, PKK, and other YPG caused terrorism groups were either completely eliminated or minimized. So these initiatives were not limited to these Iraqi locations either. Also, the military support in Azerbaijan as well, also especially with Libya. Mr. Mustafa will be talking about Libya very soon. In very important, significant initiatives have been taken. At this very point, especially in the Gulf region countries and relations with Qatar, these are the topics that I'd like to also mention a bit. These regional politics has also changed and shifted. And Turkey, following this military coup, has been able to see who has been contributing to the making of this military coup, because we know Turkey certainly knows the circles that have been actively contributing to FETÖ terrorist organizations, certainly the governments, the public. At this very point, in its very foreign policy, Turkey has become much more independent and has tried to gain a high-level status. That is making and ensuring that Turkey has been standing in a much more stronger way. And in the Arabic region, there has been other developments, and Turkey has seen such different developments. And for instance, we know that Iran has been also supported the polarization has been just at its highest. But Turkey has been in a much more stronger position following and shortly after the military coup. And there wasn't, because Turkey Turkey's exclusion in the region was as if it was not enough, and the closest corporation and cooperative country, Qatar, was also excluded. It was not only Turkey that was excluded, but also Qatar. And starting as of 2014, there was the second Qatar crisis, and Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, and in fact, Egypt and Jordan, they have this embargo against Qatar. And this was so called, they have, after Trump's government, Trump's administration office, there was almost like a statement. The statement was that this was an encouragement by Trump. And in fact, maybe a governmental shift might have been the case in Qatar as well. However, because Turkey's contribution economically and with the military support from Turkey, Qatar's government was able to remain in government as well. And in fact, against all the Arabic countries, they have also staged a very significant resistance as well. And thanks to the support and thanks to the cooperation that they have with Turkey, they have stood very strong and they have remained their presence in Gulf region. And we need to ask this question: what has happened in that region by means which has led to Turkey's own initiative? Turkey then protected, so to speak, in a way, Turkey was protecting Qatar with the negative approaches by the other countries against Qatar. Because starting as of the very first stages, Turkey has provided maybe small scale, but a very significant support, military support, as a result of the agreement. And there's this construction of the military base with a capacity of 5,000 soldiers. And maybe it was in the very first, it was quite first in the history of Gulf that Turkey has contributed positively, and Turkey has taken the positive initiative to ensure that in the Gulf region, Qatar was supported with this construction of the military base. And it was because of this that Qatar was able to show this resistance against all the odds till 2021. And thanks to these, they have lifted the blockage and the blockade, and this was one-sidedly lifted. So we see that Turkey's steps have been changing the course of the developments, and Turkey's steps have been a game changer, because we see that, for instance, this Qatar crisis, as I said, because after 3 years of crisis in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Bahrain, and UAE, they have lifted their blockade of Qatar on their own. And Turkey has been then stating one particular fact, that it will be in all the processes, not only in the defense line, but also in Doha, for instance, in Trablus, and maybe in Baghdad, in fact, in Mogadishu as well. And this Qatar crisis And we know this Qatar crisis sets a good example as to how Turkey's initiatives have been a game changer. I'd like to now give the floor back to you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Professor Muhittin, your views and your opinions are of great value. Thank you so much. Professor Muhittin, in the post 15th of July, you have mentioned about how Turkey's initiatives changed the regional developments and the further alliance balances. And thank you so much for sharing these with us. How the transformation has been here with us. You have shared your very important views with us. Thank you. The process of 15th of July, certainly it has shaped Turkey's steps and Turkey's initiatives and how Turkey's initiatives changed the other countries' approaches towards Qatar. Thank you so much. Without further ado, I would like to now give the floor to other distinguished panelists of us. And the Professor Cengiz Tomar, Vice Chancellor of Ahmet Yesevi University, and he will be talking about the regional repercussions of July 15th coup attempt. And please make sure that if there is a technical problem, please make sure to share it with me. In the very beginning of my speech, I would like to respectfully commemorate the lives lost and there has been as you know, there have been many lives lost in the history of our country. But Turkey has been fighting against all the military coups throughout in his history, and starting as of the independence war, we know that Turkish public has been very strong and very strongly standing against all the attacks. And we know that the Turkish public has not been, and Turkey was not standing next to military junta, but against it. But in the Middle Eastern region, and as you know, we know that our country is not isolated from the rest of the world, and there is we are part of also this Cold War era in the world as well.
Ortadoğu politikası şu şekilde oluşuyordu. Yani ya NATO tarafındasınız ya Varşova Paktı tarafındasınız. Bu şekilde bölünmüş bir politika vardı. Tabii Türkiye bunun içerisinde NATO tarafında yer alan bir ülke olarak.
Turkey, as you know, is part of NATO. In the 1990s and in 2000, Turkey has been instructed most of the time, and certainly Turkey has been a country and in the very beginning of 90s and after AKP has been in the government, Turkey's foreign policy has been shaped in a different way, other than a country that has been instructed.
Kuruluşlar kurulmuştu NATO tarafından Türkiye'de. FETÖ'de anlaşıldığı kadarıyla erken dönem tarihine baktığınız zaman bunlardan bir tanesi o dönem içerisinde yavaş yavaş gelişip serpilmiş. Özellikle 80 yani darbeden sonra 80'li yıllardan itibaren devlet içinde yerleşmeye başlamış ve bu devlet içinde yerleşmiş ögeler 2000'li yıllardan itibaren de Türkiye'deki konjonktürle bağlı olarak daha etkili konumlara gelmiş oldular. Tabii bize gösterilen şuydu, bir İstiklal Marşı, Türkçe öğretiliyor, Türkçe şarkılar söyleniyor. Tabii,
as you know, we have the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to give an pause to the simultaneous translation. I'm sorry because I'm at the moment currently hearing my own voice and the speaker's voice as well. But I will try to continue briefly. What we have been seeing so far, we have been national anthem.
Tabii sadece dediğim gibi Türkiye ile ilgili bir süreç değil FETÖ. Yani Türkiye burada bir cephe ülkesi hem şarkıları Türkiye'nin gençlerinden oluşuyor ana gövde hem de maddi açıdan Anadolu'nun Müslüman sermayesi, Müslüman insanın yardımları, hayırseverliğinden oluşuyor. Ama aynı zamanda hem Orta Asya'da hem Arap ülkelerinde hem Balkan ülkelerinde aslında pek çok ülkede faaliyetleri hala da devam ediyor. Onu çok rahatlıkla söyleyebilirim. Ben bir Orta Asya'da çalışıyorum biliyorsunuz 4 yıldır. Hani Türkiye'de tehlike büyük oranda geçmiş olmakla birlikte Orta Asya'da, Afrika'da bu tehlike bir fiil devam ediyor. Bunu şahsen de tecrübe ediyorum. Tabii buradaki süreç 2000'li yıllarla birlikte AK Parti'nin daha bağımsız...
Starting as of 2000 years, the year 2000, AKP started having a much more independent policy. Instead of being instructed by other circles, Turkey has been much more independent. And we know that this has been not welcomed.
Çok yakından hatırlıyoruz. Bütün bunlara rağmen Türkiye o sağduyu ve tarihsel deneyim neticesinde bir yıpratılamayınca son çare olarak aslında bu darbe teşebbüsü bir intihar.
The independence of Turkey has not been certainly expected, but the circles wanted to bring this down, and with the military attack as well, military coup attack, and the danger that the FETÖ terrorist organization has, and we're talking about a very high number of countries where FETÖ is represented. Sometimes we fail to explain in details. It's not that we are in full capability to relay the danger that FETÖ organization poses.
Ülkelerde bu manada tabii bu tür programların yapılması çok önemli diye düşünüyorum. Tabii ikinci ölçek Ortadoğu ölçeği. Ortadoğu'da da aslında yani FETÖ çok daha Arap Baharı sürecinden eski bir süreç olmakla birlikte Arap Baharı sürecinde
Speaking of the Arab Spring,
bildiğiniz gibi Arap Baharı'nın sürecinde hem biz hem Avrupa
not only ourselves but also the European Union and the EU especially looked and gave the appearance as if they were in support of the democratic transformations.
Da aynı şekilde düşündüğünü zannediyorduk. Ancak zaman içerisinde, süreç içerisinde bu süreci nasıl bir alet haline getirdiklerini, nasıl kendileri için bir manivela haline getirdiklerini gördük.
We have seen that this was not the case, certainly, and from the viewpoint of Middle Eastern region and from Turkey's point of view, and FETÖ has been made into a tool. And this certainly covers Iran, Iraq as well, the region. Iraq was already divided into three, and this was also stated in their constitution. And we know, and we have seen the same and similar process in Syria with the Russians and
daha sonra DAEŞ denendi. Bu da başarılı olmadıktan sonra Türkiye'nin de FETÖ'yle olan Türkiye hükümetinin durumu anlaması ve FETÖ'ye karşı mücadelesinin başlamasından sonra da işte bildiğimiz 15 Temmuz sürecine gelen günler yaşanmış oldu. Ve tabii aslında biz 15 Temmuz'dan daha önce ben en azından yaşandığını düşünüyorum. Çünkü Suriye Savaşı'nın yani Ortadoğu Arap Baharı'nın başlangıcına baktığımızda Suriye Savaşı'na Türkiye itildi ABD tarafından. Yani çok bu konuda teşvik edildi. O orduyla girmesi hususunda. Bana göre şayet Türkiye orduyla girseydi Suriye Savaşı'na bu giren ordudaki komutanlar hepsi FETÖ'cü komutanlardı ve ABD bunu biliyordu. Allah'tan biz bu savaşa doğrudan kendi askerlerimize müdahale etmedik. Yoksa belki orada benim yaratıcı kaos dediğim süreç orada başlatılmış olacaktı. Yani Irak'ın, Suriye'nin bölünmesi ve daha sonra Türkiye'nin bölünmesi ki en son parçada İran'ın bölünmesidir. En zor olan parça ABD açısından ki bunlar hem Irak'ta hem Suriye'de bir fiili olarak başarıldı. Ancak Türkiye'nin tarihsel derinliği ve İran'ın gücü şimdilik buna izin vermedi. Ama 15 Temmuz'da istenilen süreç buydu. Ancak 15 Temmuz'un Ortadoğu ve Suriye açısından şöyle bir zararı oldu bize. Hani biz hemen yaklaşık bir ay sonra biliyorsunuz Fırat Kalkanı operasyonunu yaptık. Yani bunu sanırım ABD beklemedi Türkiye'den. Yani bu darbe sürecini yaşamış bir ordunun, bu kadar tasfiye yapılmış bir ordunun böyle bir süreci başlatabileceği, arka arkaya 3-4 harekat yapabileceği beklenmedi. Bu da tabii ayrı bir bahis, yani ayrı bir ilgilenmesi gereken bir konu. Çünkü burada Türkiye başarılı oldu ve bir nebze kendisi için yaratılan tehlikeye karşı koyabilmiş oldu. Ancak bu tehlikenin bittiğini söylemek pek de mümkün değil. Çünkü hemen bizim sınırlarımızın 30 kilometre güneyinde ABD tarafından bir YPG devleti elan kurulmakta. Ve işin kötüsü Türkiye sınırlarında tedbir almış, o Akdeniz koridorunu engellemiş olmakla birlikte daha ziyade Arap bölgesine yani Rakka, Deir Zor dediğimiz bölgeyi ele geçirmiş durumda ve fiilen şu anda Suriye'nin %25'ini elinde tutuyor. PKK, YPG, ABD desteğiyle. Türkiye'nin önümüzdeki günlerde bir başka operasyon daha yapması bekleniyor ama esasında o kuzeyde başarılı olmamıza rağmen güneydeki devlet kurulma çabaları devam ediyor. Belki bu FETÖ sürecinin bizim için en önemli dezavantajlarından birisi de bu oldu. Zaten Arap Baharı sürecinde biz zaman içerisinde aslında müttefiklerimizin bizle beraber olmadıklarımızda tecrübemizle öğrenmiş olduk. Ve hocam bahsetti, Muhittin hocam. Bir dönem benim Güney Cephesi dediğim bir cepheyle yalnız başımıza kaldık. Yani Türkiye olarak hem Körfez ülkeleri, Katar hariç, hem Arap ülkeleri, hem İsrail, hem Yunanistan ve Rum kesimiyle birlikte Türkiye yalnız başına kalmış oldu. Ancak son dönemde Biden'ın da bölgeye geldiğini düşünürsek, Türkiye, İsrail, Türkiye, Mısır, Türkiye, Körfez ilişkilerinin düzelmeye başladığını düşünürsek, bence bölge tekrar aklı selim ile hareket etmeye başladı diyebiliriz. Çünkü ben hep her zaman şunu söylüyorum. Şayet bölge güçleri, tarihte de hep böyle olmuştur. Şayet bölge güçleri kendi arasında bir birlik sağlayamazlarsa, kendi aralarında konuşamazlarsa hep dışarıdan gelen güçlere teslim olmuşlardır ve bu güçler zaman içerisinde ülkeyi bölmüşlerdir. Tabii bir de Suriye boyutu var. Bizim için belki FETÖ sürecinin en can yakıcı noktası Suriye süreci oldu. Çünkü biz tam bu Suriye sürecini hatırlayın. İşte 2015, 2016 Rusya'nın müdahalesi, daha sonra işte uçak düşürülmesi olayları, bunların hepsi aynı anda oldu. Tam bunun üstüne bir de FETÖ darbe teşebbüsü geldi. Tabii ki Türkiye hani beklendiği şekilde güçlü olmasaydı bu projeyi yapanlar tarafından, şimdi biz aslında süreç başarılı olmasaydı aynı Suriye'deki bir duruma düşmüş olacaktık. Yani Suriye'deki gibi bölünmüş, kendi içerisinde mücadele eden bir iç savaşa uğramış bir devlet olacaktık. Ancak Türkiye her şeye rağmen, yani bu FETÖ sürecini 2016 yılında atlatmasından hemen sonra bildiğiniz gibi bölgeye pek çok harekat başlattı. Hemen bir ay sonra, 1,5 ay sonra Fırat Kalkanı ve öbür harekatları başlatarak PKK'nın Akdeniz koridorunu engellemiş oldu. Bu bence en önemli başarılarından biriydi. Türkiye'nin, Türk ordusunun tarihsel derinliği ve halkının sağduyusu içerisinde. Ama tabii Suriye özelinde Türkiye, ABD'nin orada %25'lik bir alanda bir devletçik kurmasına en azından şu ana kadar bir engelleme yapamadı. Çünkü hem Rusya hem ABD'nin orada olduğunu düşündüğünüz zaman aslında FETÖ sürecinin pek çok Türkiye dezavantajını avantaja dönüştürmüş gibi görünse de hala bazı dezavantajlarını bana göre yaşamakta. Tabii son gelişmeler benim açımdan, hani bölgeyi takip eden birisi açısından ümit verici. Nedir bu son gelişmeler? Bölgede konuşamayan, yani birbirleriyle konuşamayan ülkelerin konuşabilir hale gelmesi, Türkiye'nin bölgedeki diğer ülkelerle, Arap ülkeleriyle, İsrail'le konuşur hale gelmesi ve kendisine karşı kurulmuş olan hemen o darbe teşebbüsünün akabinde Güney cephesini çatlatmış olması, bu çok önemli. Biden'ın son ziyareti de bu manada büyük önem taşıyor. Biliyorsunuz Biden hükümetinin Ortadoğu'ya farklı bir politikası vardı Trump'tan sonra. Ancak hem Covid hem de bu tahıl krizi, Ukrayna-Rusya savaşının ardından petrol fiyatlarına gelen artışlar nedeniyle Suudi Arabistan'la, Muhammed Bin Salman'la görüşmek zorunda kaldı. Yani politikasını değiştirmiş oldu. Bence bu da çok önemli bir süreç bence. Şu anda Türkiye kendi içerisinde bu FETÖ darbe teşebbüsünün yaralarını sarmış durumda, önemli ölçüde süreci tasfiye etmiş durumda. Tabii Arap ülkelerine baktığımız zaman bölgede FETÖ'nün çok fazla etkin olmadığını görüyoruz ama benim bulunduğum Orta Asya bölgesinde veya Afrika bölgesinde etkilerinin hala aşırı ölçüde devam ettiğini görmekteyiz. Devlet bürokrasisinde, bakanlıklarda, devlet aygıtlarında ve bu süreç henüz bana sorarsanız bitmiş değil. ABD tarafından oluşturulmuş veya CIA tarafından oluşturulmuş bu süreç önümüzdeki yıllarda da bölgeyi etkilemeye devam edecek. Biz ne yapmalıyız diye soracak olursanız, tabii bizim yapmamız gereken şey bu tür toplantılar, belki başka da etkinliklerle bunu özellikle yurt dışına anlatabilmemiz. Maalesef yani bu konuda henüz çok ikna edici, çok başarılı olduğumuzu ben düşünmüyorum. Yurt içinde başarılıyız, ancak yurt dışında hala bu süreç devam ediyor. Tabii ABD'nin büyük etkisi var. Ancak tabii terör örgütü elebaşısının şu anda herhalde yoğun bakımda, eğer o vefat ederse ondan sonra farklı bir sürece gidilebileceği ve bunun da Türkiye tarafından çok iyi değerlendirilmesinin gerektiğini ben düşünüyorum. FETÖ'nün benim gördüğüm şöyle bir şey var. Aslında dini bilgisi olan, mesela Arap ülkelerinde, Türkiye'de çok fazla dini bilgisi olan kesimlerde çok fazla yaygınlaşamıyor. Daha ziyade yeni İslam'a girmiş veya İslam'ı yeni öğrenen ülkeler ve toplumlarda çok daha etkili olduğunu görüyorum ki ben Orta Asya, hani daha çok Arap dünyasını takip eden birisi olarak 4 yıllık Orta Asya tecrübemde ben bunu öğrendim. Yani Arap dünyası gibi, Türkiye gibi çok fazla dini bilgisi yerinde olan toplumlarda çok fazla ilerleme kaydedemiyor. Ama e, işte Afrika gibi, Orta Asya gibi bölgelerde özellikle eğitimi kullanarak büyük bir avantaj sağladığını hala söyleyebilirim. Büyük güçler tabii her ülkeye, her ülkenin sosyolojisine göre farklı projeler yaratıyorlar. Yani Arap dünyasında biliyorsunuz daha işte Vahabizm, Selefizm gibi oranın sosyolojisine daha uygun bir şey plan yapılıyor. Türkiye sosyolojisine baktığımız zaman daha farklı bir, işte FETÖ gibi daha belki modern görünümlü Kürtler kullanılarak iş yapılıyor. Mesela Türkiye'de de DAEŞ gibi örgütler tutmuyor. Ama Orta Asya, Afrika gibi toplumları, İslam'ı çok az bilen veya İslam'la yeni tanışan, İslam'ı yeni öğrenen toplumlara baktığımızda buralarda çok daha etkili olduklarını görüyoruz. Ve burada da kullandıkları en büyük şey eğitim. Yani sizin çocuklarınızı bir sosyal asansör olarak eğitim yoluyla en alt sıralardan alıp toplumun en üst elit kesimine taşımayı çok az. Burada iki şey yapıyorlar. Yine benim Orta Asya tecrübemden gördüğüm. Birincisi çok zeki çocuklar. Türkiye'de aynı şeyi yapıyorlar. Çok zeki çocukları ve elitlerin çocuklarını alıyorlar. Bunları okutuyorlar. Ama diğerlerini de parayla onların finansmanını sağlamak için ayrı okullar kurarak, yani ikili bir yapı şeklinde bunu bugün Orta Asya'da bizim Türkiye'de aslında yaşadığımız tecrübenin bir benzerini şu anda yaşadıklarını görüyoruz. Tabii ki toplumun, ailelerin en önemli geleceği olarak çocuklarını gördükleri için ve onlara yatırım yapmak ama zorunda oldukları için aileler de iyi eğitim alıyorlar. Çünkü bu bölgelerde eğitim problemleri çok fazla. Yani benim burada acizane tavsiyem Türkiye açısından şu olacak. Marif Vakfı tabii çok önemli hizmetler yapıyor ama bu hizmetin çok daha yaygınlaştırılmasının gerektiğini, yani kaliteli okullar, özellikle yeni oluşum sürecindeki devletlerdeki, Avrupa'daki devletler 30 yıldır bağımsızlıklarını ilan ettiler. Daha henüz genç gelişme aşamasındalar. Bu başka ülkeler için de böyledir ama ben kendi tecrübemden onu görüyorum. Mutlaka Türkiye'nin yurt dışında okullar ve yurtlar üzerinden bu FETÖ tehdidini halen devam etmekte olan ve halen Türkiye'yi ve Türk adını kullanmakta olan FETÖ tehdidini bertaraf edebileceğini düşünüyorum. Onun için Marif Vakfı'na, tabii Yunus Emre Etkikar çok önemli işler yapıyorlar ama özellikle Marif Vakfı'na çok önemli işler düştüğünü düşünüyorum ve Türkiye Devleti'nin ve hükümetinin Marif Vakfı'nı yurt dışında desteklemesinin FETÖ'yle mücadelede çok büyük bir imkan sağlayacağını düşünüyorum. Benim şu an için aklıma gelenler bu kadar ama daha genişletebiliriz eğer sorular olursa. Şimdilik bu kadarla yetinelim.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were not able to translate Mr. Professor Tomar's speech. We apologize for this. Thank you so much for your presentation. We were trying hard to reach you, but because you were not able to hear us because of the fact that you were not using the headphones, please make sure so kindly to put on your headphones. If possible, could you so kindly select Turkish language for yourselves so that you can hear Turkish language? Otherwise, the voices technically get overlap. But your presentation has been very enriching. You have mentioned about the 15th July and how this was reflected to Syria. And Professor Muhittin Ataman mentioned about how Qatar and Turkey's relations with Qatar has been shaped. And the more we have eradicated some of the terrorist elements and FETÖ elements and making sure that the military presence is shaped in line with the public's interest. And if you could, you have also mentioned about that how this struggle against FETÖ should continue within Turkey and outside of Turkey. And prior to and after 15th of July, one of the area where Turkey was active is Libya.
Demokrasiye sahip çıkma, özgürlüğümüze,
and taking the ownership of democracy has been the step by the Turkish public. And as our previous speakers have mentioned, this resistance against the military coup was very much like it was our second independence war. And we certainly have a lot of gains. And the next point that we'll take a look at is Libya. We have strengthened our relations with Libya, and we have established very active mechanisms. And Libya has been also with in the Eastern Mediterranean, and we have also seen how the geopolitical gains were there. And we have Professor Mustafa Sakızlı is with us, and he is the program director in BINA Association, and he will be talking about how July 15th has shaped Turkey's relations with Libya and how the relations have evolved. Professor Mustafa Sakızlı, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. I am happy to be invited by ORSAM to speak on this great occasion. First of all, I would like to pay respect and ask Allah for His mercy for the martyrs of the 15th of July. These are the people who were able to oppose the coup d'etat that I think would have changed the face of Turkey and the region, of course, to the worse. So these people deserve respect and dua. I think the role of Turkey in the region is very important. Turkey is the regional power, especially for the Arab countries, for Libya and the Arab Spring. Turkey is the model, the democratic model, the model of economic development, the model of reforms during the last 2 decades. So it was very important to keep this model and to look upon this model. Turkey has been inspirational for the people of the region, for the people of Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, and the Arab Spring in general. So keeping this model, a democratic state, developing economy, freedom of the people is very important. The coup d'etat that happened on the 15th of July could have been a big setback, not only for Turkey, but for the whole region. As a matter of fact, in Libya, during the revolution, we were supported by Turkey, the international community, Europe, European Union, the US. We rose against a dictatorship, against a military dictatorship that committed the coup d'etat in 1969 against the king, Sanusi king, who was, by the way, the Libyan state at the time was a democratic constitutional monarchy. So these military officers led by Gaddafi, who was only 27 years old at the time, of course, supported by some of the Western intelligence, now as we found out all the documents and so on, took Libya into a different path, a path away from democracy, from development for 42 years. So when the people regained their freedom, started to think of rebuilding the state, started the first steps of rebuilding the state, after 2 years, we found that many of these countries that supported us in Libya during the revolution decided that maybe it's not in their best interest to have Libya and the rest of the Arab Spring states as democratic free countries, because this would mean that these countries will have their own independence. They will control their own wealth. They will have their say when it comes to international politics, including the issue of Palestine. So they decided maybe it's not a good idea to keep on supporting the Arab Spring and these revolutions. The only country that kept on supporting the people in the region, trying to make peace, especially for Libya, did not take any side, took the side of the people, the side of democracy, peace building, was Turkey. After 2014, when Haftar made his again coup d'etat that failed in Tripoli and most of Libya, many of the Western countries decided that maybe it's a good idea to bring another dictator. They can easily deal with these dictators. We found Turkey took the side of the people and refused to accept dictatorship in Libya or in Egypt or elsewhere. So Turkey is important for our people, for our states. It is a model. We cannot deny that there are relations for centuries between our people and the Turkish people. So it is the closest model for us, the model of democracy and state building, economic development. Plus, Turkey kept its close relation to the people. So when the coup happened on the 15th of July, many of the people who were seeking democracy and are still seeking democracy in our region felt that they will be in danger. And if the system in Turkey changes from a democratic system to a new military dictatorship, then it will be the end of the Arab Spring. This was the notion at the time. On the other hand, we had, for example, people who are supporting Haftar or Sisi or who are countering the Arab Spring, counter-revolution, were very happy, very enthusiastic about the coup. Some of the media, for example, in Libya, that is close to Haftar, or in Egypt, or in some of the other countries, they supported the coup. I remember some of these social media accounts in Libya that were supporting Haftar, they spread a rumor that Haftar called the head of the military coup and had a talk with him, and they agreed to support Haftar, and they said that they will send all the opposition to Haftar back to Libya. So it was very clear, even though the coup lasted only for hours, but it was clear that the coup, if it succeeded, then it would have been part of this oppressive regimes and the return of dictatorships in the region. So for us, having Turkey as a democratic state, having Turkey as a strong economy, strong also power in the region is very important for peace, developing our countries, and building our democracy. In Libya, of course, after the coup failed, it was a sign that we can continue our struggle for democracy. It was a sign that when people rise, they can fail these coups. When people rise, they have the power to make sure that they gain their democracy. And there is a very famous photo that spread all over Arab media in Libya, in Egypt, and elsewhere, where a normal civilian was holding his belt and beating the putschist or the military who participated in the coup. And this was very symbolic, because on the other hand, we found, on the other side, we found, for example, in Egypt, some of the people who are supporting these military coup d'etats, they were instead having the boots of these military putschists on their heads. So there was a debate amongst the Arab people. Look, these the Turkish people, because they are free, they want their democracy, they love their state, they made sure that these military dictators would not return to power. While some of these groups that are seeking a dictatorship, or hypocrites who are supporting dictators, are holding the boots of the dictators on their heads. So these symbols gave hope to our people. Of course, at the time, there was the government in Tripoli, which represents, I can say, the Libyan people, and it came through a dialogue amongst different political parties, different components of the society. And we had in Benghazi the Haftar government. So the Haftar government directly supported the coup, while the government in Tripoli, of course, supported the civil system in Turkey and did not accept the coup during these hours. Later on in Libya, we found out the importance of having Turkey as a democratic state, strong state in the region, and that is when Haftar attacked with the support of some regional countries, countries that support counter-revolution, when Haftar attacked Tripoli. As you have heard, that at the time, President Sarraj made a statement asking 6 countries to support Libya and to support the Libyan people and support Tripoli in defending itself from the attack of Haftar on the people of Tripoli and the Western region. And none of the countries that he seek their support replied to his request, even though these countries were the countries that participated in the dialogue in Khairat and promised that to support the internationally accepted government of President Sarraj. The only country that accepted to support the Libyan people and to support the Libyan people defend their freedom was Turkey, and the decision was also accepted by the Turkish parliament. And this is, I am sure, if the coup d'etat on the 15th of July had succeeded, then the position of the military dictatorship that would have been installed would have been to support criminals like war criminals like Haftar. So this is an example of the effect of the coup d'etat and the failure of the coup d'etat on Libya. I think the Turkish people gave hope that it is possible to defeat military coups. This message was well received in Libya, in Egypt, and elsewhere in the region. So if the people have the will, they can make sure they have their democracy, they have their freedom, and they can make sure that these military officers can be stopped from taking power. Another important lesson for us in Libya from what happened on the 15th of July and post 15th of July are the reforms that were made in the security sector and in the military in Turkey. And this is very important. Libya is a fragile country, it's a failed country, but we are in the process of state building. So we need to reform our security sector, rebuild our institutions, including the army. So which models? We have two models. We have a model in Egypt with our neighbors in Egypt, and we have a model with the Turkish model. So people now in the process of state building think and seek to establish a similar model to the Turkish security model, a model that the army protects the country, protects the people, does not interfere into politics or economics. The police has to respect human rights, has to enforce law, has to respect the judiciary system and the civil leadership of the country. So also post the coup d'etat, the reforms that were made in the military and security sector are well received. We have made actually a research with SETA and Professor Muhyiddin and his colleagues on reforming the security sector in Libya. And during this research, we took a close look to the reforms that were made in Turkey during the last 20 years, but also post the coup d'etat, because many of these reforms were done and conducted to make sure that another coup d'etat would not happen. I think Turkey, it is hard now for any coup d'etat to happen again, but I am sure countries that are not happy that Turkey is now independent, Turkey is playing an important regional role in Libya, in Somalia, in Azerbaijan, in Syria and elsewhere. Turkey now is a strong player in the region and internationally. I am sure they will keep on having their trials and conspiracies to make sure that they would have some sort of control on this new renaissance in Turkey that can change the region. Turkey is inspiring the people in the region. So this inspiration, many of the powers that are abusing the region, abusing the wealth of the region, they want to make sure that there are dictatorships that they can make deals with so they can benefit from the resources in the region, oil, gas, and the wealth of the region, are not happy about a strong democratic Turkey that can be the model for the rest of the countries in the region. So I think on 5 Temmuz was not a great day for Turkey only, the result of that day, but also for our people in Libya, and it was inspirational. The people in Libya, I was in Istanbul, I was receiving calls from my friends, family, they were asking, and they had, they were following the coup d'etat minute by minute, and their hearts were with the Turkish people. They thought that the failure of the coup d'etat is a great victory, not only for the Turkish people, but also for the people of Libya. It meant that there is hope, there is a future for democracy and empowering the people and state building and renaissance for the region and development for the region. Thank you.
Sayın Mustafa Bey, hocam teşekkür ederim.
Mr. Mustafa, thank you so much. Professor Mustafa Sakızlı, you are the program director for the Bina Association and for Libya, for the restructuring of Libyan establishment of the restructuring of the state, and you have mentioned about the details, and you are standing at a point where you have great clarity in the point, in the whole panorama of developments. And based on what you have shared, we also once again understand that any development in Turkey has its own implications, and very important and direct implications in the region, just as, for instance, the course of the developments in Libya and the probable developments in the Eastern Mediterranean region. And for instance, if, as you said, the military coup attempt instead of the failure, if it achieved its purposes, it probably, as you said, would have very severe implications in Libya and in other countries. And also I have observed this in Jordan as well. In the northern part of Jordan, I have seen how the people of Jordan were out there in the streets praying to God. And I have listened to all these directly from these people. And we have seen the sympathy and the very focused attention by the people of Jordan as well, not only Libya, but in other countries as well. And this very clearly shows the importance of whatever happens in the region affects one another interactively, but whatever happens politically in Turkey definitely has an impact and has definitely a fallout in the region. If there are some questions now, we're ready to receive your questions. And Professor Muhittin, Professor Cengiz, Professor Mustafa, if there are other questions, other comments you'd like to add, the floor is yours. Professor Muhittin, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you so much, Professor Mustafa Sakızlı, for your comments. July 15th and the fallout and implications, and after 6 years, we're talking about the regional impacts, implications, regional repercussions of the July 15th coup attempt is very important today. Once again, we must emphasize for Turkey, not only the domestic but the international policies. July 15th is a milestone because it has led to the reconstruction of many things, re-establishment of many things. So Turkey had to endure many military coups, some of which failed, some of which did not. But these were all, there were some other steps. These were all representing the steps to redesign the entire system in Turkey. But hopefully, inshallah, with the failed military coup, we have given the message that this would not happen once again. And there will be, this also will be the beginning of a new renaissance where, and we have seen the capacity, we have seen the increased capacity of the state to the level, to a higher and elevated level where Turkey is not only strong within Turkey, but also at an international level. And this is a model, and with the reforms made, there is the political transformation as well. We have seen it in such a short period of time, but there are very significant outcomes of these steps, not only in the short, but also in the long term. And in the region, certainly Turkey cannot be a passive role, but will certainly be a proactive role, and will be the very strong player, and will be certainly watching Turkey's own interests at the highest level. And it will be Ankara-based approach where Turkish people's interests are watched for at the maximum level. Thank you so much for the views that you have shared with us, Professor Muhittin Ataman. Thank you. And you have highlighted the importance of this period. This integration of the democratic institutions and the Turkish public, because Turkey with July 15th, thanks to the milestone of July 15th, the connection between the Turkish people's will being represented by the institutions, this has been highlighted. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I do not hear the technical problem has been also resolved. I'm not hearing the English version right now. And thank you. And this has been a great experience, not only for Turkey, but also due to the implication it has and due to the repercussions and kind of the spill out effect or the waves it has in the region, certainly. And here, FETÖ, the terrorist organization, or any other initiatives, this is not to say that there will not be any further attempts as such, but there are many other attempts and initiatives through the young generations. Only when we can provide the required and needed help to our young generations. Certainly, Turkey is a country ready to extend helping hand to those who are in need. And if we could win the young generation by means of providing for them, we will be preventing them and their future from deviating to the other inclinations, because such organizations will always be out there ready to influence the young generation, and we should be always alert and agile in order to prevent the young generation of ours, as the nation, as the state, as the government. We should be also ready to meet the needs of the young generation. I was an assistant, for instance, in there, and the dormitory need of the university students is a significant need. And in the high education systems, the needs of the young generation and the students, especially the university students, the dormitory needs were the means for FETÖ, terrorist organization, to to reach out to them by means of providing the dormitory and some accommodation to those university students. This is how FETÖ terrorist organization leaked into the minds of the young generation, and we should always be alert against that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your views. As you have highlighted, the needs of the young generation is important. We need to raise our awareness on this. And this is means, certainly we are here to commemorate our martyrs and the fallen individuals for the sake of embracing the democracy. Thanks to their selfless sacrifice that we're here today. We have seen how they were ready to sacrifice their lives for a stronger democracy and to build a strong civilization. Maybe this is how it's been in the history. Once again, I'd like to take the opportunity to respectfully commemorate all the lives lost, and we'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to the fallen individuals and Turkish people in the name of protecting democracy. And this taking the guardianship of the institutions is not what we want. And we know that FETÖ, this has not been new, but FETÖ terrorist organization has been the instrument for such attempts. But there was a very clear and very crystal clear response to these. This resistance needs to remain as strong as ever in order to ensure the strengthening of the democracy, not only for the Turkish society, but also for the other public and other societies in the region. But as the academicians, we need to make sure to take every opportunity to strengthen our infrastructure to ensure that the lessons learned are not forgotten. Mr. Mustafa, Professor Mustafa, if you'd like to take the floor, this is your turn, sir.
Yes, thank you. I think one of the lessons learned from what happened on the 15th of July is that different political parties and different components of society all were united to stand against the coup. And this is very valuable, and this is a very important lesson for us, because our mistake, for example, in Libya or in Egypt, that when the coup happened, the Haftar coup or the Sisi coup, the political class was divided. They thought a part of the political class, they thought that this is a good idea. Let's, support the military dictatorship or the military to get rid of our opponents. And this way we'll make a deal with the military and we will benefit as a political party or political groups. In Turkey, what happened was different. The political parties, the political class, the elite, the people learned the lesson from previous coups and decided that, okay, this is against all of us. Maybe the coup, if the coup succeeds, we will, our political opponents will lose, but again, we will also lose. And this is a very important lesson. The coups that usually succeed because a part of the political class, part of the people would support them, and sometimes they would support them without knowing them or knowing their goals or plans. They would only support them because they will get rid of their political opponents. So this is a well-learned lesson in our region, especially between Islamic parties, liberal parties, secular parties. Now they have understood the lesson that, look, any military regime would claim that they are with one part of society or political parties against the others. They might claim that they came to cleanse the Ikhwan, or they came to cleanse the secularists. But in the end, they will clean everybody and they will keep power for themselves. So I think the Turkish people learned the lesson and taught the rest this lesson. This is a very important lesson that I think we learned from Turkey. The other issue is that I think now Turkey has a lot to present to others from its experience and to benefit. It can be, let's say, win-win. It will be very important for the interests of Turkey and the Turkish people to have partnership with a country like Libya. And it is very important for the Libyan people to have partnership with a country as strong in the region and as developed and as democratic as Turkey. So we are in the process, as I said, state building, institution building, building the economy, building our political system. We can benefit from Turkey by many means, by training, educating youth. Thousands of Libyan youth now come to learn in Turkey by getting the support of Turkish companies to rebuild the Libyan economy and the reconstruction in Libya and infrastructure. So I think in the future there will be strong links between Libya and Turkey in not only reconstruction or infrastructure, but also in institution building and politics, and also in the Mediterranean when it comes to gas, oil, and international politics.
Teşekkürler Mustafa Bey. Evet.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa Sakızlı, Professor Mustafa Sakızlı. Thank you. Post 15th July, Turkey's wins, Turkey's gains, and this Turkey's strengthening its position in terms of democratic developments. And we have mentioned about three different topics: Libya, Syria, and Qatar, and the other developments in the Gulf region, and how these were affected, or what are the dynamics. And I would like to extend my gratitude to the professors for their very valuable views. Hopefully, Turkey will not have to experience such heinous attacks, and certainly Turkey has strengthened its democratic infrastructure, and Turkey will be happy to extend its helping hand to such a model for the establishment of the other democratic institution, or for the economic development, or through any other cooperation with the regional countries. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our panel on regional repercussions of the July 15th coup attempt. And if you may have some other words, I will be happy to give you the word. Thank you so much for this panel where we had the opportunity to share our views. Professor, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This is the end of our panel. Thank you. And distinguished participants, we'd like to also thank you for your cordial presence here with us today. Thank you.